Have you ever felt their distance and convinced yourself it meant they didn't care? That the silence, the late replies, the way they seem to vanish when you need them most, that it was rejection? What if everything you thought was coldness, indifference, or fear of intimacy was actually something else entirely? Something deeper, something you weren't meant to see at first glance. You've been searching for signs, piecing together every small action, wondering if you're imagining it, hoping it's real. You're tired of guessing. You're tired of feeling like you're the only one holding on. You want clarity. You want to understand. You want to finally see the truth hidden in their distance. And you deserve it. That clarity is coming. Not because they will spell it out, but because once you learn the hidden language they speak, the veil lifts. You'll see love where you once saw absence. It starts with the way they vanish. Not because they want to hurt you, not because they don't care, but because their heart is full in a way that frightens them. They pull away because closeness terrifies them, because being open feels like exposing a wound that never fully healed. Every retreat, every moment of silence, every time they seem unreachable, it is not emptiness. It is a struggle with themselves, a war behind the walls they built long before you arrived. They wrestle with their own fears, their own doubts, and the shame that whispers they aren't enough. And yet, even in their absence, they think of you. They notice the smallest details, remember the tiniest moments, tuck them away in a corner of their mind. You see only the distance, but underneath, there is care. There is attention. There is love moving quietly, almost invisibly, like a shadow waiting to be recognized. You have felt it, the pull of wanting them close and fearing they will never fully arrive. It hurts, it confuses, it leaves you questioning your worth. But this is not your failing. This is the hidden code they operate by, a code built of protection, not rejection. They are not running from you. They are running from the storm inside themselves. And when they do come back, when they reach through the silence, it is deliberate, meaningful, and rare. That return is a sign. A small, quiet declaration that they cannot stay away from you. That despite the fear, despite the walls, they want to be near. And those moments, fleeting as they may be, are filled with more honesty than 1,000 words could convey. You have been searching for signs in the wrong places, expecting openness where only cautious love exists. You've been overlooking the signals they give when they feel safe enough to let you in, even just a fraction. There is a rhythm to their love, a pattern you can learn to read if you pay attention. The check-ins that seem subtle, almost accidental. The gestures that appear insignificant, but are laced with meaning. The way they remember what matters to you, even when they forget themselves. It is a love that hides in plain sight, disguised as avoidance, retreat, hesitation. They are not hiding from you. They are guarding the intensity of their feelings until they can trust themselves not to break under it. And that is where your understanding becomes power. When you recognize the signs, when you begin to see their fear and their care as two sides of the same coin, you step into a space of clarity. You stop wondering if it's you. You stop doubting. You begin to see love in its truest, quietest, most profound form. This is why you must stay present, why you must hold space in your mind for the invisible signals. It will not be loud. It will not be easy to explain. But the reward is immense. Insight, connection, a rare glimpse into a heart that fears love even as it craves it. You have been conditioned to equate distance with rejection, silence with indifference, pullback with absence. But the truth is, avoidance is not always a barrier. It can be a bridge built of complexity, vulnerability, and a love that is deep enough to terrify them. And when you finally recognize this, when you finally see beyond the surface, You gain something most people never experience: understanding the paradoxical nature of love that is cautious, hesitant, but fiercely real. Every moment you've doubted yourself, every time you've wondered if they care, you've been missing the quiet proof hidden in the cracks. Love does not always arrive with clarity. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hesitates. Sometimes it hides behind fear. And when it shows itself, subtle but undeniable, it is more powerful than any overt declaration. You are about to see that hidden language, to recognize the care that was always there, to finally understand that avoidance can be love, intense, cautious, unspoken, yet unwavering. You are ready. The truth is waiting. And once you see it, nothing will look the same again. The moments when they pull back are not empty. They are charged with emotion, with thoughts and feelings they cannot yet name. Every pause, every hesitation, every time they retreat, it is the sound of their heart learning to navigate its own chaos. They are wrestling with vulnerability, testing the waters, trying to protect themselves from the risk of being too much or too exposed or too wrong. And in that struggle, they are thinking of you, always. Even when it seems like they are gone, you occupy their mind in ways you cannot measure. Every detail you ever shared, every laugh, every glance, every quiet moment, it matters. It stays. It weaves into the patterns of their thinking, becoming part of how they measure safety, how they measure closeness, how they measure love. You have felt the frustration, the longing, the endless questions spinning in your mind. You have searched for proof, for confirmation, for a reason that makes sense. But proof is not always loud. Proof is subtle. It is in the way they reach for you when they think no one is watching. It is in the small gestures they believe you might not notice. It is in the patience they muster, the thoughtfulness that surfaces in unexpected moments, the quiet acts that say more than words ever could. These are not mistakes. They are deliberate expressions of care, carved into their behavior by fear and longing alike. They are signals, small but undeniable, that they are not avoiding you. They are protecting the love they feel, the love they hope to share, the love they are afraid to fully reveal. This love is complicated. It is raw. It is intense. It tests your patience, challenges your assumptions, forces you to confront your own fears and insecurities. But this is precisely why it is so valuable. It is not a love that can be taken lightly. It is not a love that is easy to understand. It is a love that demands attention, that demands presence, that forces you to see beyond the surface and into the heart of someone who struggles to let themselves be seen. Every moment of silence, every step back, every hesitant approach, they are invitations to witness the depth of feeling that exists beneath the fear. And when you respond with patience, with understanding, with empathy, you are meeting that love halfway. You are stepping into the space where it can flourish. You are learning the language of cautious devotion, the rhythm of hesitant hearts, the truth that love can be both fragile and fierce at the same time. There is urgency here. There is power. Because each moment you fail to recognize it, each time you dismiss it as disinterest or apathy, you risk missing the rare chance to experience a connection that is profound, deliberate, and lasting. This is not ordinary love. This is love that is tested, love that is hidden, love that requires courage to understand and courage to receive. It asks you to believe, to trust, to see the signals others overlook, to feel beyond appearances, to honor the vulnerability that has been disguised as distance. You are being called to rise to a higher awareness, to step into clarity, to act not out of fear, but out of understanding. Imagine the difference if you can read the signs, if you can see the care in the absence, the longing in the silence, the affection behind the hesitation. Imagine how it would feel to finally recognize the love that was always there. waiting quietly, cautiously, unassumingly. It changes everything. It reshapes your perspective, your expectations, your interactions. It frees you from the endless guessing, from the pain of misinterpretation, from the anxiety that comes from believing the worst. You gain insight, you gain power, you gain the ability to experience connection at a depth that most never reach. And that insight is not theoretical, it is practical, it is actionable, it is transformative. This is the moment to open your mind and heart, to pay attention in ways you never have before, to embrace the complexity, the paradox, the intensity of love that is cautious yet unwavering. It is the love that teaches patience. It is the love that challenges assumptions. It is the love that rewards awareness with moments of quiet, profound intimacy. You cannot rush it. You cannot force it. But when you learn to recognize it, when you learn to honor it, you step into a truth so powerful it cannot be denied. Avoidance is not always absence. Retreat is not always rejection. Hesitation is not always indifference. Sometimes it is love, fierce, hidden, careful, relentless love. And now that you see it, you can act. You can respond. You can understand. You can be present. You can witness it fully. And in witnessing it, you allow it to exist in its most powerful form. Every small action they take is deliberate, even the ones that seem like nothing. Every delayed reply, every pause in conversation, every moment of apparent distance carries meaning if you learn to see it. They measure their love in quiet ways, in gestures that feel subtle because they are careful, because the weight of what they feel is too heavy to express recklessly. And that is the difference between their love and ordinary love. It is cautious, yes, but it is also profound. It is deliberate. It is persistent, even when it hides behind fear. And the more you learn to read it, the more you realize that absence is not emptiness, and distance is not rejection. They are giving you space because they want to protect the connection, because their heart is not yet ready to risk everything at once. You have waited, wondered, questioned, and felt the sting of uncertainty. That pain is not meaningless. It is a signal, a marker that you are standing at the edge of understanding something rare, something complex, something transformative. This is not a love you take for granted. This is not a love you can predict or control. It is a love that tests you, stretches you, forces you to expand your capacity for empathy, patience, and insight. Every time you resist the urge to interpret their silence as a lack of care, you step closer to a deeper truth. Every time you pause, breathe, and observe, you are learning their language, a language that speaks in gestures, in timing, in subtle persistence. And in that language, you will find clarity, connection, and the proof you have been seeking all along. They are fighting their own shadows while carrying thoughts of you. Their retreat is not a sign of disinterest, it is a sign of protection, a defense against the intensity of what they feel. They are holding themselves back because love terrifies them, because intimacy challenges every hidden insecurity they carry. But the very act of holding back, of thinking of you in silence, of remembering details that others would overlook, is proof that you matter more than they can say aloud. This is the paradox. The deeper the fear, the greater the love. And recognizing this is a game changer. It shifts your perspective, transforming frustration into understanding, doubt into insight, and anxiety into power. You start to see not just the actions, but the intention behind them. Not just the distance, but the care hiding within it. Not just the hesitation, but the courage it takes to even attempt connection. You are being called to step fully into this understanding, to read the signals others miss, to honor the love that is cautious yet deliberate, to meet it with awareness, patience, and presence. The stakes are high because this love is rare. It will not wait indefinitely. It will not announce itself loudly or demand recognition. It exists in the subtle, in the careful, in the moments when they almost reach out but hold back, and when you finally respond with recognition. When you finally see and acknowledge it, you create a space where this love can grow without fear. You become a witness to its authenticity. You become a participant in a connection that is deeper, more resilient, and more transformative than anything that comes easily. The intensity of this love demands your attention. Every small detail matters. Every quiet act is a declaration. You cannot afford to misread it, to ignore it, to let it slip by unnoticed. This is your chance to understand someone fully, to see the truth hidden in the complexity of their behavior, to act with insight instead of assumption. The world conditions us to look for loud, obvious signals, but real love often whispers. It waits, it tests, it hesitates. And those who can recognize it, who can respond with awareness, are the ones who experience it fully. You are being invited to be among them. When you learn this language, you gain perspective, you gain patience, you gain the ability to experience connection in its most profound form. You see love not as a series of actions to decode, but as a presence, subtle and constant, revealing itself in ways that demand attention, care, and understanding. And in that awareness, you find power. Power to step into relationships without fear. Power to recognize love where it once seemed absent. Power to create the space for connection to thrive. You cannot underestimate it. This is not ordinary love. This is love tested by fear, shaped by caution, and strengthened by persistence. It is rare, it is intense, it is alive. And now, it is yours to understand, to honor, and to meet with the awareness it deserves. Every glance they give, every message they send, every hesitation carries weight far beyond what you realize. You have been searching for proof, for clarity, for signs that this is not indifference, but the truth is hiding in plain sight. They do not say everything, they cannot. Their heart races in silence, filled with emotions that terrify them to express. And that is why their love feels complicated, why it seems inconsistent, why you feel the tension of waiting and wondering. But every careful action, every moment of subtle attention, is a footprint of intention. Every pause is a calculation of how to love without losing themselves. Every retreat is a testament to the fear that comes with feeling too much, caring too deeply, risking everything for a bond they cannot yet fully trust themselves to hold. You have doubted yourself, questioned your worth, wondered if your attention is wasted. That doubt has a purpose. It sharpens your awareness. It forces you to pay attention, to learn the signs others ignore. You are learning to see love in the hidden, to find meaning in the quiet, to understand that absence does not equal apathy. They are not distant because they do not care. They are distant because they care too much to risk being careless. They protect themselves in order to protect what they feel. They guard their love as fiercely as they guard their own vulnerabilities, and the depth of that care is more profound than anything spoken aloud. Every subtle gesture, every fleeting touch, every memory they hold of you is a quiet proof of their devotion. The stakes are higher than you realize. Each misread signal, each misunderstanding, can create a chasm that feels unbridgeable. But every moment you choose understanding over assumption, patience over frustration, insight over projection, you step closer to experiencing love as it was meant to be felt. You begin to see patterns, the tiny, almost imperceptible ways they reveal themselves. The moments when they reach out, when they compromise, when they test the limits of their fear just to be near you. These are not accidents. These are declarations, small but powerful, written in gestures instead of words. They are invitations to meet them in a space of honesty, awareness, and mutual understanding. And the more you learn to recognize them, the more you step into a power you never thought possible, the power to truly witness love as it exists beneath the surface. Their love is not a storm to be tamed. It is a river that flows cautiously, carving its path with patience and care. And when you learn to read the currents, to anticipate the rhythms, to understand the force behind the quiet, you find yourself swept into a depth few ever experience. This is a love that demands your attention, your perception, your empathy, and your courage. It is rare because it cannot be rushed. It is profound because it emerges from fear, transformed into care. And it is relentless because no matter how much they hide, no matter how much they pull away, their heart cannot forget, cannot ignore, cannot abandon the connection that matters. You are being offered access to this intensity, and with recognition comes responsibility, to respond with awareness, to hold space for complexity, and to act with intention rather than impulse. Every small moment counts. Every act of recognition builds trust. Every pause you respect, every subtle sign you acknowledge, strengthens the connection in ways words could never accomplish. They measure love differently, with caution, with thought, with an awareness that every misstep could break the delicate balance they strive to maintain. And when you step into that understanding, when you embrace the challenge of witnessing love that is hesitant yet unwavering, you unlock a capacity within yourself to experience depth, intimacy, and clarity like never before. You become a participant in a connection forged by patience, nurtured by awareness, and solidified by the courage to see beneath the surface. This is the point where everything converges. The tension, the longing, the fear, and the care, all of it crystallizes into understanding. You can no longer mistake avoidance for disinterest. You can no longer see hesitation as indifference. Every retreat, every silence, every careful step backward carries the weight of love. And now that you see it, now that you understand it, the next step is yours, to recognize it fully, to honor it, to respond with presence, patience, and awareness, to allow this cautious, relentless, hidden love to exist and grow in its truest form. And when you do, you enter a space few ever reach, a space where love is not just felt, but fully understood, fully appreciated, and fully alive. Their love is a careful fire, quiet yet unrelenting, and it is waiting for someone who can see it without needing it to shout. Every hesitation, every pause, every moment of apparent distance is a reflection of their struggle to manage intensity, to navigate feelings that could overwhelm them if expressed too quickly. They are not careless. They are not indifferent. They are afraid. Afraid that showing too much, feeling too much, risking too much will lead to loss, rejection, or heartbreak. And yet, despite the fear, despite the walls, they return. They reach back toward you in ways that may feel small, subtle, almost invisible, but in truth carry enormous weight. These are acts of courage, quiet, deliberate courage, and the more you learn to recognize them, the more you see the invisible threads connecting you, stronger than distance, stronger than hesitation, stronger than doubt. You may have mistaken silence for apathy, absence for disinterest, restraint for rejection. You have counted the gaps, measured the pauses, wondered if your attention mattered at all. And now you understand that these measures were misleading. The truth is hidden in subtleties. The proof is in thoughtfulness, in the way they remember what matters to you, in the moments they show up when it is hardest for them to do so. They test themselves against their own fears to ensure they can be present without losing control. They measure love and caution because intensity terrifies them, because vulnerability is a battlefield they have learned to navigate alone. And yet, every return, every message, every sign of effort is a declaration of a love that cannot be silenced, cannot be denied, cannot walk away even when fear commands it. This love demands you rise to a higher awareness, You cannot meet it with impatience or projection. You cannot try to force clarity or demand certainty. You must see. You must feel. You must interpret the hidden language. And when you do, you step into a rare power, the ability to experience connection as it truly exists, not as it appears. This is love forged in caution and refined by persistence. It is love that rewards perception, attentiveness, and courage. It is love that, when recognized, changes the way you understand relationships entirely. You gain insight into patience, empathy, and resilience. You gain access to a depth few ever experience, a quiet intensity that reshapes expectations, challenges assumptions, and redefines what it means to be seen and understood. Every moment you have spent wondering, doubting, or questioning was preparation. Preparation to witness love that is complex, layered, and careful. Preparation to meet it with awareness, respect, and recognition. You now have the chance to engage with it fully, to respond in kind, to honor it with your presence, your attention, your understanding. Each subtle gesture you notice, each small effort you acknowledge, strengthens the bond and validates the courage it takes for them to risk showing it at all. They are not reckless in their affection. They are deliberate, protective, intentional, and the more you honor that, the more it thrives, quietly, steadily, powerfully. Do not underestimate what is unfolding. This is not ordinary love. It is not loud, obvious, or easy. It is layered, nuanced, demanding, and profound. It asks for courage, patience, insight, and presence. And when you rise to meet it, when you respond to the quiet signals, when you recognize care in absence and commitment in hesitation, you unlock a connection that is deeper, richer, and more transformative than anything that comes easily. You are being offered access to a rare form of intimacy, one that tests the heart but rewards it immeasurably. Every subtle proof of attention, every cautious step toward you, every moment of returning despite fear, is evidence of a love that persists even when it cannot speak freely. You have been trained to seek obvious signs, to demand clarity, to expect declarations. This love does not follow that pattern. It whispers, it hesitates, it retreats, it tests. And those who learn to see through the surface, who understand the rhythm beneath, who respond with recognition and presence, experience something extraordinary. You are on the threshold of that experience now. The hidden, careful, relentless love is real. It is powerful. It is alive. And it is waiting for you to see it fully, to meet it with awareness, to allow it to exist in its most profound, unshakable form. Every quiet moment between you holds meaning. Every pause, every retreat, every hesitation is not absence. It is a heartbeat of intention, a shadow of care. They step back not because they do not feel, but because they feel too much. Their love is a storm they struggle to control, a fire they fear to ignite fully. And yet, they cannot ignore you. They cannot let go completely. Every subtle gesture, every message sent despite doubt, every thought of you when they believe no one notices. These are the footprints of a heart that cannot be tamed, a love that cannot be silenced. It is deliberate, cautious, intense, and profoundly real. You have been searching for proof, for clarity, for signs that they care, and now the truth is coming into focus. You may have misread distance as rejection, silence as indifference, restraint as apathy. Those assumptions have cost you moments, clarity, and peace of mind. But the patterns are here, waiting to be understood. This love is not simple. It is not easy.